Hello, everybody. We made it through our first week of psychopathology. I made it through my first week at Grand Canyon University. It was a good week. It was a long week, a lot of learning curves for me, having come from using Canvas in my last academic position to converting to Halo. It's a lot of just technology changes. And I feel like sometimes I'm an old dog trying to learn new tricks. So I appreciate your patience as I am still going to be learning all the tricks. So I just wanted to share with you, and I'll also include a PowerPoint that I had done a while ago, just examining my own journey and becoming a social worker who was aware of anti-racism practices, obviously professionally, in therapy sessions, classroom spaces, etc. And kind of blending that with accessibility, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Just that looking at all of those things with a lens that has continued to evolve. So first, just like looking through the camera lens, I feel like, and just all of it back in 2018 and going, I've really never truly jumped into what all of this means. I thought I was culturally competent. I thought I was doing the work, but come to find out back in 2018, the work was just beginning. And that was after hearing Austin Channing Brown speak. She is a writer and an advocate, and just speaking on, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and a deepening of cultural competence into cultural humility, curiosity, etc. And at first, when I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know. What have I been doing all these years? Have I been inclusive? Have I valued different individuals that come from all different backgrounds? That's race, religion, ethnicity, um, all of it, all of it. I could list a lot of different quantifiers. What have I been doing? What have I said that didn't land well? And the more I was starting to read and just have hard conversations, the more became kind of apparent to me was sitting in my shame isn't doing anything. It's not growing. Sitting there looking back, it's okay to kind of reflect and kind of look back. But if I started, and I did start going down specific moments where I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure. Did I offend them? And that's when it was just like, that's not going to get me anywhere, but just kind of sitting and being stuck. And that's when I started just reading more and having harder conversations and attending trainings, learning updated language, um, speaking from the heart, with the intent not to harm or offend anybody. I think when it comes to ADEI and anti-racism practices, we, as a lot of humans, we worry about asking the wrong questions, saying the wrong things, offending somebody, rightfully so. We are going to ask a question that doesn't land well. It might seem offensive. We might misuse a term that we thought would work, or we make a joke that we did not know was micro or macro aggressive, right? And so just kind of really running through the filter. Let me think through this and how to ask it. What does it look like to really just pause and ask a meaningful question, especially when you're asking somebody or having a dialogue with somebody that doesn't know you well enough to trust you, right? Doesn't know you well enough to say, Oh, Katie Veit doesn't mean to say that. She doesn't mean to offend, but she just did. Because as we know, sorry about that, if we hurt somebody or offend somebody, especially in a social work perspective, we risk, them shutting down or furthering or pulling away, maybe not establishing rapport. What am I trying to say? I'm just speaking from the heart. That either goes well sometimes or it doesn't. But um, as we look into the next topic, I keep wanting to say module, but topic number 2, kind of around assessment and diagnosis. A lot of times, as social workers, what if we assign the wrong diagnosis? Absolutely, we're going to be talking about that. What if we are meeting with the patient at the hospital and we can already see we may, based on their language or wording or what have you, there could be a language barrier. Is that a cultural barrier? We don't know until we get the conversation started. But I do want to normalize that if you are feeling some type of a way around, I've got to do this mini mental exam with this individual, and we do not speak the same language completely. How am I going to do that? Just being mindful and open to feedback is a great way to start. And that's when I'll sometimes say, hey, we don't know each other yet. I'm about to go through this assessment. And since we don't know each other yet, um, I don't know what could offend you or need clarification. So maybe I don't say offend. No, let me take that back. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I'll just say, as we go, please give me feedback, or if we both need clarification, we can move forward with clarity, or we can take a pause, because we don't know how it's going to go, right? We don't know how it's going to go. And what we're doing constantly in our profession is engaging in meaningful dialogue, attempting to develop rapport and trust so that we can go further in the assessment or start engaging in family sessions or what have you. And so much of it is just about our presence, how we show up in a space, moving a little slower, really actively listening to somebody and acknowledging, validating, asking them to show up however they would like to show up, because sometimes we're asking really hard questions. So, really just leaning into, I might offend somebody. I can always ask for forgiveness or clarity if somebody chooses to tell us that they've been offended, or hurt by our words. All of this to say, um, I've been doing this for such a long time. And my first exposure to other races, cultures, and ethnicities was when I did international social work. What I mean by that was most of the time when I did international social work, I did not speak the same language as a family or individual. We were not from the same country, continent, and I didn't know hardly anything about their culture, traditions. Um, that was kind of back before you really went in the Google deep dive about tell me more about um, Native American traditions or cultures, or what do I need to know as quickly as I can. And so it was trial and error. A lot of just lots and lots and lots of different growth. So I thought I knew a little bit, learned a lot, um, and I'm growing constantly. Kind of circling back around to having done this for a really long time, just to say I'm still evolving and growing. I don't know that I'll ever arrive. Just when I think I've arrived, I've done, something could change, and that's why it's just important to stay humble and to stay curious. All right. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you. And I look forward to diving into topic two around assessment and diagnosis.